Hey, y'all. Hey.
Hey, y'all.
Welcome back.
Welcome back.
I'm Crystal.
And I'm Alisa.
And we are...
That's right.
Your favorite sister podcast. Also your favorite relationship podcast.
Yes.
Your favorite parenting podcast.
Yes.
Your favorite Christian podcast.
Yes.
Your favorite podcast.
You think?
Right? Only thing we don't do is sports and music.
You're right. You're right.
We could do sport. we could take over the world. We could do sports and music.
Because girls rule the world.
Is that it?
Okay, never mind. Sorry.
Who run the world?
Girls. Okay, yeah. Uh-huh.
We're not part of the beehive. Okay. All right, y'all. What we talking about today, Lisa?
Oh, my gosh. What we talk about today, for real? Something definitely has to do with relationships. Are you scared? We trying to be submissive or something? Oh, my God. Okay.
That word doesn't scare me because I am submissive.
Oh, so you, okay. All right.
For the purposes of this podcast. No, for real. I think we dive right in because remember the whole algorithm.
Yes.
People be trying to watch.
Yes, we got to get it in. We got to get it in.
For real.
Quickly.
So, I am in marriage counseling.
Yes.
And like, I think our marriage is like good and we're on really good footing right now, but I think we do it just as like a, keep up measure. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Like, it's not something that I'm like, oh my God, I can't stand him. I need some help with that. It's like, no, we're great. It's a check-in thing. We talk about it.
That's great.
So one of a session a couple weeks back, she was talking about submission, and she was like, just giving me examples of what that looked like, and just asking me if I found myself to be submissive. And I don't know that I think I do. Right? I think that I should be.
Okay.
But I think I put so many like qualifications on it. Mm-hmm. Like, well, I can be submissive if these things are in place. Like, and this is the thing I love to say, I'm not going to let you run me into a brick wall. Okay. So I can submit and let you lead, but if you have not proven to be a leader, how am I follow?
That's so deep.
And that's I find, why are you like this?
So sorry.
You are my favorite person.
I'm feeling you, sis. I'm just feeling it. I'm feeling it. Mm-hmm.
But like, honestly, and this is what I find. So I'm talking about black men because I ain't never been with nobody else other than a black man. So I don't know what other men are doing.
Yeah.
But I find in my personal experience, y'all, I have found that men want you to submit no matter what. I'm the man. If I'm not making the money, if I'm not considering you, if I'm not here helping with the kids, I'm still the man.
Yes.
I don't. And honestly, I think they feel like they feel like they would be different. And in my experience, if you submitted. So I would be, trying harder and doing more if you were a more submissive woman. Right? And so you're not doing it, so I ain't doing it. Right? It's the desire for reciprocity on both ends. But I have always felt like, and I don't know that I believe this now, but I have always felt like you got to show you have to be someone I can submit to.
Absolutely.
That I could, because I am very strong-willed and I am very, I'm driven, I'm confident, I am a natural-born leader, right? And so you have to be able to lead me. I read something the other day that said, oh, this was so good. Don't get with the man that you settle down with, marry, should be someone that you look up to.
Ooh.
That's good.
Yeah, that's deep. And that's real.
That's real.
That's real.
Because I do find that if I can look up to you, I'm obviously submitting. Right? Like if you are someone who I am driven based on who you are, not by you helping me, but the person you are, you are someone I aspire to be. Oh, baby, I'm going to submit to you because I want to learn from you and I want to grow with you. But I find that people are not people that you can look up to, they're not following their dreams, right? Like, okay, I got this job, I'm good, right? Not leading spiritually, not leading financially, not leading, even with, I'm going to take charge with parenting, and they're just like, by virtue of me having a penis.
Because I'm a man.
Submit.
You got to submit to me. So do you see it as it not being, if you cannot submit to a man or a man would not submit to you,
I don't need a man to submit to me.
So you only think it's one way. A female has to submit to a man.
I don't.
Submissive to a man.
I don't think that. I don't think a woman needs to submit to a man at all. I'm just talking about in general. People. I know it's in the Bible. Y'all know I love God. It says, "Wives, submit to your husbands." I get it. My personal worldly view is I don't feel like, I don't live a life that says women need to just submit to a man. Okay. I don't, but I think that if you were asking me to submit, you need to be worthy of that submission. Right? Okay. Like I don't get to say I am submissive to you and you aren't leading our family. And I'm not, and here's the thing. I'm not even talking about leadership where you're actually trying and sometimes the things that you say fail. Like I can rock with that. I can rock with you taking risks with our family and dang man, I'll be out $50,000. But you tried something. You were a go-getter. You were after something. You thought it was going to be okay. You did research and it failed because that's the thing that happens. I am okay with that. I'm not okay with you being like, yo, I'm going to go and do, hang out, do whatever, and not be there for you. But when I come home, I've been with my boys all day, or whatever. I don't really care about friendships and stuff like that. But, I've done this. I haven't been supportive of you. I haven't looked to love you. But, I'm the leader here. Why are you not doing what I say? And I think a lot of times men use the whole you should submit as a form of control. Right? And so just do what I say. And I don't think that's what submission actually is.
I think you're on point. Do you think that it's submission if a man's asking you to submit or wanting you to submit because he's a man or because he has a penis? And he's saying that it's a 50-50?
Let me tell you a thing or two. Let me tell you what my flesh says. Let me tell you something. You ain't asking for 50%.
Because that is a thing.
You ain't asking me for 50% of the bills and asking me to submit to you. We both wearing the pants in this mug.
I know that's right.
Like that is horrible. And let me say that. I know that. Yeah. I know that that's horrible. I know that that's a bad way to think about things.
I don't know. I think that it will be hard to be submissive when you know that it's a 50-50 transactional situation.
But and let me say this: if the money is the only thing, like if I'm making more money, right, and I have more of an ability to take care of the family, I am okay if you were leading in another way. Does that make sense?
It does make sense, and I would agree with you on that. And I don't know when this is going to air or what episode and what order, but when Dawn was on our episode, I feel like I would be submissive if somebody understood if love language. Right.
So you can make them, I don't care about, it's really not about the financial piece. It is about how you engage with me.
Yes. Okay. Yes, absolutely.
So you're asking me to submit, but it first says, husbands love your wives as Christ loved the church. And Christ died for the church. But if you are not making me feel like you will die for me, the expectation that I will submit and serve and love. And I don't mean to be subservient. I mean that I just doing, being in your love language. It doesn't mean I have to cook and clean and all of that. God didn't name a ministry. I'll make sure you eat. I'm going to make sure your clothes clean, but I'm not talking about that, but I'm making myself available to you, being here to support you, being here just to love on you when you need that, being here to bounce your ideas off of, being a partner with you, right? Encouraging you when you need encouragement, all of that, right? Having all of that. But so you want that from me. Yeah. You want to say, hey, babe, I have this idea and I think, whatever, and even if it's far off, you want me to say, you know what, baby, try it. Yeah. You never know unless you try. You want all of that from me. You want to come home from a hard day's work. I've been working too because we 50-50 on the bills. So I've been working too. And you want me to come home and not be tired be tired and still make sure you're okay. And still make sure you've had a wonderful day. And if you've had a rough day and I've had a rough day, sometimes a lot of times in those situations, the expectation is, well, I am the man. Right. But did you first do your part? You did not do, and I'm going to correct something in a second. And I think women will submit if husbands love your wives as Christ loves the church. If you feel like someone loves you to die for you, I'm going to submit to you all day. But it's also not transactional because the word of God doesn't say, husbands, love your wives as Christ loved the church. And then there's no transaction. You do this and you do this. And God does not release you and say, well, if he's not loving you as Christ loved the church, you are free to not submit. Because guess what? That's the man you chose. Mm-hmm. Right? Like if you find yourself in a situation, my personal opinion, if you find yourself in a situation where you are with someone who doesn't love you as Christ loved the church, I don't know if God called you that. He might have. Oh, God does things, right? He might have called you to that, but maybe you put yourself in a position where submission is hard because of the man you chose.
That part.
And then what do you do? Because
he's leave.
Pack my stuff up. That's what I do. I got to get out of here.
You gotta go. No, I can't even come back and say anything, honestly, based off of what you said. You just took the words right out of my mouth. Like, I desire to be submissive.
Mm-hmm. What does that look like to you? In any situation, like in any romantic relationship?
I want to go back to the love language. Mm-hmm. You know, like he has to know my love language, or he has to. I have to feel like, just like you said, and it's so true. Like I have to feel like you're creditable. I have to feel like you can lead me. Mm-hmm. You know, that's so important to me. And I've been in situations where I've been with, you know, in my long relationships, and I struggle, you know what I'm saying, with being submissive because I feel like I'm playing more of the dominant role, you know, in the relationship. And even communication, you know what I'm saying, is not really as effective as it should be. And if you're not hearing me or hearing my cries on whatever it is, even if it's something financial or if I'm telling you, look, I'm bringing this back up. If I don't like something, but you're steady giving me something that I don't like, you're not paying attention to me enough for me to even want to be submissive to you. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, I feel like, and right now I'm not married, you know. So when I get married, I know that I'm going to choose. Because I know what I want. That guy, I know that I'm going to be able to be submissive to him, you know, because I know God's going to give me that right man. He's going to bring that right man to me. But I can't just because you're my boyfriend, we've been dating for 2-3 years. If you're not showing me that you can really lead me or are paying attention effectively to my needs and what I'm telling you, then yeah, I'm not going to be submissive because I'm the one, I want to take care of my man. I want to make sure you straight. I want to make sure if you've been working all day that you come home and your meal is fixed. I want to make sure if you have a labor job, if I can't give you the best massage that you're looking for, I'm going to make sure that you going to the masseuse and you getting it done. You know, I'm whatever. Like I'm very supportive when it comes to things like that and making sure that my dude is taken care of. But I don't want to feel like the dominant one in the relationship. And if I feel like I'm doing the most in the relationship, it's just, for me, it's harder for me to be able to submit, period. You know, I'm not saying that I'm not going to be a good girlfriend, but submitting to me is different from being like just a good girlfriend. Like you doing a little bit more. You actually serving. And you doing a lot more than just a regular girlfriend. But if you kind of get what I'm saying.
Let me ask you this, and maybe we should have had a man on to talk about this. Do you think that you can turn a man, and this is from a woman's perspective, y'all, we sorry, that you can turn a man into a leader by submitting no matter what? Like, okay, he is not a natural leader, right? But if or let me say this, help him make good decisions. Because I think that he can be a leader, if nothing else but the family, right? He don't have to go out here and be a leader in the workplace or the world, but all is required as the head of this household is you be able to lead these people, this little 5 group, whatever, or 8 in my case. Do you think that maybe if and this is not talking about you, but maybe if you said, okay, I'm going to submit no matter what. Like, I don't think the decisions he's making are great, but I am going to support him. Do you think that you can provide enough encouragement to have someone grow in that?
I think we as females, I think a lot of us females get into the situation that I'm about to describe. You start dating a guy and start living with him, and then you start playing this housewife role.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like I've done that, getting into a relationship and just automatically, you don't even have to prove nothing. I'm just gonna prove to you that I can be the woman that you want me to be. I can be the housewife. So yeah, with women moving in so quickly, and even being in the situation that I have been in, moving in so quickly, I have thought that.
Mm-hmm.
I have thought, okay, well, I can help you.
Mm-hmm.
We whatever it is, if I know it, we can grow together, or
Mm-hmm.
you know what I'm saying, I'm gonna teach you what I know. And sometimes, men are men,
Mm-hmm.
and men want to do things their way. Or, you know what I'm saying, men may feel like, I don't know. All I can say is men just want to do things your way, because I've been in situations where, credit situation.
Mm-hmm.
My credit school, you know what I'm saying? I know the system. I know how to beat the system. My man, he needs to get his credit score up.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm trying to help you. You know what I'm saying? Let's boss up. Let's do something together. Let's get some investments. Let's get some properties. I'm thinking on a higher level, trying to help my man out. And so I'm trying to help my family, my kids out and everything. I'm like, okay, well, let me just put you on as an authorized user, so you can kind of get your credit up, and I'll go ahead and teach you the game, teach you what you need to do. Here's your limit. I'm not gonna baby you. I'm not gonna help you, but this is your card. So whatever you're able to spend, whatever you're able to pay back, then that's what you spend. If you're not able to pay it back, then don't even think about using it. So, I'm giving, coaching and just giving the game, and some kind of way, got a little reckless on a card. And so if I'm talking to a grown man and I'm giving you the game and I'm telling you what the rules are, the approach is not, the first approach is not nasty. It's, ooh, what happened, babe? Just trying to explain the situation. And when there's rebuttal and there's talk back, and sometimes I feel like men are men, and when they're wrong, they don't admit their wrongs. But when they're wrong, they also want to kind of get angry and argue back at you and be combative. So that situation didn't go well, and his credit didn't get fixed because actually,
because I cut him off, because I say you're no longer an authorized user, right?
Well, no, he was so mad that because it escalated into an argument, and so it turned into, you're just trying to tell me what to do situation. Like it just was off, and it got to the point where it's just like, I don't need your help anymore. Tore the car up, that was it, whatever. And so I just feel like you as a woman, sometimes with a man, not all men, but there are men out there, there are ignorant men out there. There are men that you can't tell them nothing. So I feel like, yeah, it's definitely okay to help a man. Some men need help. Some men are raised from a background where they wasn't raised with their father, maybe only raised with the mother, or adopted, or might be challenged and need some, assistance. And so I'll be there to help. But what I've learned lessons over time too. So for me, learning my lessons, I wouldn't go into a new relationship being a housewife. And definitely not being submissive.
So I guess that's not my question. Even though everything that you said is valid.
Yeah.
Right? Like, so I'm not saying like, oh my God, that was stupid. Like, no, like it was very valid and very real. And so sometimes you do have men like, don't tell me nothing. And I think that's mad weird. Especially if you're an expert in a thing, right?
Yeah.
Like, I know this right here, right?
Yeah.
Because one thing for certain, two things for sure. If G has a contract or whatever, like, let me say this. This man has my opinion about everything because he thinks I'm the smartest person.
Come on.
He thinks I'm the smartest person ever. So he's not going to make a decision without asking me my opinion. But then sometimes he doesn't take it. Sometimes I'm like, if you do it this way, he's like, yep, I don't want to do that. And I'm like, gave you my opinion. And for me, this is what I find hard. I find it hard, and I want to go back to that, but I find it hard in my relationship with Galen is that I will sometimes, if he's like dead set on something, he may ask my opinion, but he may be wanting me to say one thing or do it one way. And I'm like, no, that's not gonna work, dog. Like I know that it's not gonna work because I've experienced in this failing, right? And so this is not going to work. But he wants to do it his way. And then he wants me to support him doing it his way. That's submission too, honestly and truly. Like, but I'm like, I have a hard time supporting you making a reckless decision.
Yeah.
I have when I'm telling you, hey, I think this is going to be bad, but like, yo, I did this.
Yeah.
I have, or hey, I did the research for you, asked me to do the research. I told you this ain't gonna rock. And you're like, I'm going to do it anyway. And then you want me to have your back and I want to fight. I'm like, I can't have your back in this, but honestly, I don't think that's right. But I can recognize that I do it, right? And so, and I do think one thing about my husband, and it's so therapy, if you're not in therapy and you need therapy, get it. It has helped me to really see like patience with people is necessary.
I've learned that in season 3 for sure.
Right.
For sure.
But it is because, like you say, everyone isn't raised the same way.
Yeah.
And so, we can do an episode on that because I am very intentional in making sure that my children, when they are just, God, here's my prayers. I have been praying for my kids' spouses since they were infants. I have prayed for my bloodline. I have prayed to make sure that God has godly people who know how to love them and worship the Lord. Like, you got to love God first, and your love for God should drive how you love me. And so I am very intentioned in making sure that my children are connected with people who are really close to their family, really close to God, and really like have an understanding of what marriage and love and being a mother and a father looks like.
Yes.
Because if you're not, you're going to find yourself in a situation where you're trying to teach somebody, and that what people don't, and when they feel like they know everything, a lot of times they don't want to be taught.
Yes.
And so if you have a situation and you come from people, rich people marry rich people. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
This type of person marries that type. Like, you have to marry people with your same morals, your same values, your same background.
So deep.
Or else you're going to be out here like fighting somebody to get them to get somewhere.
That's very powerful.
The beauty that I have with your brother, that brother tell me every day, I didn't know love till I met you. He is very real about like, nobody taught me how to love. And so I want to do right.
Exactly.
Like what does, and he recognizes, he's been married before, like obviously, he recognizes that there is a different thing that I want. He just wants to do it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so, but I sometimes, because I know love, this is not my first experience with love. I have had so much love. I fall short in that I'm like, yo, get it together, dog. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, how are we still here? But we're still here because he's just learning this, and he's almost 50.
But that's
right?
the good thing about it. He's willing to
That's
recognize.
What I'm trying to do. I'm a problem.
Put the effort in and show you, and not be in denial. And submit to the fact that I don't know how to love.
This is what I'm saying. I am in no way saying that he is I am the problem.
Yeah.
And I recognize that. And even talking this through, I'm thinking about like, there are ways that I could submit, because it's not a quid pro quo, right? It's not like you do, I do, because I did whatever. It's like, nah, like, you want to do this, I'm going to be supportive in this. I'm going to, yes, I did the research. Yes, I told you it was going to fall. And because he'll say that all the time, like, you should supposed to support me no matter what. I'm like, not when you're not making sense. I'm not supporting that, right? Like, that's just real.
Exactly.
And so, because I am smart, because I do know things, because I do the research, like, I'm like, but no, like, that's your man. And you want him to love you. And it's not transactional. I don't want to make it transactional. But like, it's super unfair that I have this expectation of him to love me when I'm unlovely, right? Like, I want you to love me in all my dirt, but hey, you're making a decision I don't like. That's stupid. I'm not supporting you in that.
But even when you explain it, I'm kind of taking it as, I don't know if it's like not submitting, maybe more so, you tried to help, he wants to go his other route, which is fine. And you're just not supporting him.
I think that's not, but I think all of that has to do with
the same
submission.
thing.
Because I don't view submission as just servitude. right? And so because we don't have that problem, because I'm going to take care of him. So no matter what decisions he's making, if we're talking about, just servitude and a marriage, I'm going to make sure that brother eats. I'm going to make sure that he is dressed well. I'm going to make sure that he has all of the skincare products he needs. I'm going to make sure that he is comfortable.
Absolutely.
His life is. I'm doing that no matter what. So that's not an issue that we have in our marriage either. I am taking care of you. I take care of him. Right? But, and I think that's my problem, because I take care of that man. But I am not always supportive. I am not always, so I'm going to throw money at it. Right? Like, I want to open a sports bar. Go hire a business company here. Like, I sponsor that. You know what I'm saying? Go get me an official. I don't want you to go out here. You ain't been in nobody's business school. You're not going to go out here and think you're going to open a sports bar. What we're going to do is we're going to pay thousands of dollars for a business plan. What we're going to do is we're going to hire a management company, hire people who know this, and you are going to oversee it and be a part of it. But we ain't running no sports bar, because we don't know nothing about running no sports bar. But our names can be on a successful sports bar. Right? That's what I am, you know me, right? Like, absolutely. That's what I am going to do. But when you don't want to do it that way and you want me to just rock with it, I'm just kind of like, yo, I ain't doing that. I love you. I love you. The minute you want to do it the most professional way and the way that it's going to have the most return on my investment, I do it that way. But what I'm not about to do is throw $10,000 into the wind, right? Like, I'm not on that. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to let you, I think I messed up. I'm not going to let you throw $10,000 into the wind. Right? Because your money is my money is your money. And we're not doing that. We're not doing it that way. But guess what? When I tell that man, I need $20,000 to do whatever, he's like, okay, whatever. He don't ask me no questions. When I recently, he supports, let me tell you a thing. That man supports everything I want to do. Yeah, I left church one day and was like, I'm going to Bali. Like, I need a minute. I was like, okay, she's going to Bali.
I love that.
I did not, this is so embarrassing, y'all. Booked the trip to Bali. I said, I am not cheap, but I like to get a good deal. So I booked a one-way ticket to Bali and I'll talk to y'all because Lisa knows the story. I booked a one-way ticket to Bali. I booked the return trip, I think, from Korean Air. Because the round trip, I only fly first class because that's the woman I am. So I'm not flying 30 hours in coach. I will not do that. I got to have Delta One. So booked the one-way ticket. The round trip was $10,000. The one-way, if I booked Korean Air, was $4,000. So I was like, yo, it's going to go down. It's going to get cheaper on Delta. It's fine. I only fly Delta. So I bought the ticket back. So a couple weeks out, the ticket price went up to like $7,000. So I was like, yo, it's going to go down. It's going to go down. A couple weeks later, it went up to $9,000 for a one-way ticket to Bali. I said, it's going to go down. It's not a big deal. I'm not stressed out. The next morning I checked, that thing was $13,000 for one way. I'd already paid for my accommodations in Bali, already bought the ticket back. So I called my husband. Lisa, I was so sick. I called my husband. I was like, yo, and let me say this. I only fly first class because the Lord told me if you can't fly first class, you can't afford to go. That's it. So either if I fly first class, I stay home. So I called my husband and I was like, I prayed about it and I was like, Lord, I'm gonna need permission to do this, dog. I ain't paying $13,000 one way to Bali. I'm not doing that. So I prayed about it and I was like, let me call G. I called him and told him, yo, the ticket's $13,000. He was like, what? And I was like, yes. So I get off the phone with him. This is early in the morning, like 6 o'clock in the morning. He's headed to work. So I said, so I was like, okay, Lord, I don't know what to do. I'm gonna talk to my husband. So he called me back. And as I was about to call him, he was like, yo, buy the tickets. Or the ticket. Mm-hmm. I was like, what? He was like, nah, like we live in abundance. We got $13,000. Buy the ticket.
You bought the ticket?
I bought the ticket. That man he did not reprimand me. He didn't say, babe, we had $10,000 at the time for you to buy a round trip. Now we have spent an additional $8,000 for you to go to Bali. And the trip ain't costing you but $3,000. I'm paying $18,000 for a flight.
I can't fathom that. I'm sorry.
But do you think he said anything?
I know.
Do you know how I would have been on his ass? If he would have came and said, I had to buy baby, you not going. I would rather lose the money you put in to put another $13,000. You won't board a plane.
Yeah.
And I know I would have been on that. But he was very much like, yo, we good. And so that's the man he is.
Yeah.
And
absolutely.
for me to say, and just think like that it's wrong of me to listen to him say, I want to do it this way. Me say it's not going to work, and then I'm going to pull my support from behind it. But I have, but I have a man I can submit to.
I think so.
And so, and I think that he's grown into that.
Mm-hmm.
In a sense of, he was never like reckless with me or nothing like that. He ain't never been no jerk like that. You know what I mean? But he did not have like the, initial like the, what you call it, the go-get-itness, you know what I'm saying? Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like me, I'm very, maybe if I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna do it.
You're gonna do it.
If it's a thought, I'm
it's
like
happening.
Yo,
slow down.
I need $30,000. I had this idea.
Yeah.
Right?
Quick. Mm-hmm.
And then look, I called Alisa about a podcast, and 2 days later we had
we in season 3.
I called Alisa like, hey,
quick.
I'm thinking about doing this, and 2 days later I'm like, I signed us up for this class. It was $3,500.
Yes.
Alisa
it was
like,
a whole schedule. Slow down.
What is happening? Because if I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna do it
quick.
And I do all the research. I do, whatever. And he doesn't. He just supports it. And if it fails, I don't do things that fail, so I don't really have a barometer to measure that by. But he doesn't. He just trusts that.
Yeah.
And so I think that I have to look at who he is. And not because it's transactional, but because I love him and he loves me. Mm-hmm. And it is completely unfair of me to withdraw my support, even if I feel like it's going to fail. Right? Like, even if I can say 100% this is going to fail. But because sometimes all the time men need that. Like, they need that support. They need a soft place to land if it doesn't fail. They don't need a whole bunch of I told you.
No, you're right about that.
Crystal Wright is going to be on some, I told you not to do that, dog. Right? Like,
but you also recognize good business decisions when you should. So if you know that it's a bad decision,
but does that give me license to be like, oh my God, I told you?
Why does he need to waste his time?
That's fair.
That's
fair. He does, and that's my husband.
Yeah, I know.
Right? Mm-hmm. And I'm not fussing at you, I'm fussing at myself. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm talking to you and I'm talking to me.
Yeah, yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm. And so if he needed that for whatever, let him have that.
Yeah.
That, especially when you're with a man who, let me tell you something. There is nothing, and I talk about money because I really just spend money, like that's my thing. So, but there is nothing. I'm like, oh, I'm in Chanel, about a $10,000 bag. He's like, oh, send me a picture. He doesn't, you spent $10,000?
Y'all been together for about 9 years now, but I know when y'all first started, like he's like that now, right? But when y'all first started, he didn't really give you that reaction. It was more like, what are you doing? I'm questioning that.
Oh,
like,
no.
Was from day one?
No, he...
Because, he didn't come
from... day one, we were poor. I keep trying to tell you that.
Exactly.
And
so
let me say this.
Saying.
My husband definitely made 6 figures when I met him.
Uh-huh.
Right? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it wasn't like we were poor, but 6 figures and 6 kids don't really go
absolutely.
as a figure a kid.
Yeah.
So it doesn't go far.
Mm-hmm.
And I also think, like he said, he trusts the God in me.
Uh-huh. Okay.
Because the reason that God has used me. The reason that we're in everywhere is because, like, when we was in a little house, when we was at little house we lived in when I first met him.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? God woke me up one day. He was like, yo, get another house. And I was like, we had no money. The Lord was like, it's time for you to move. And Galen, this was his first time he had to ever believe God for something. Like, I have believed God for many things.
Yeah.
You know, and so he was like, yo, can we just wait till we get some savings? Because we couldn't save because we had all these kids and he was taking care of, it was a lot. And I was like furious because I follow God. Because I follow God. So I was just like, yo, no, I don't do that. Like, God said move, I'm moving now. We had just signed a new lease on the
for the
rental house. And it's like a $4,000 if you break it thing, which obviously $4,000 is not a lot to me now, but at the time, you might as well say $4 million. So I was like, we just signed this new lease, but I also heard God. And then we got that. So this was September. We were moved into our new house. We found it in November and we moved in our new house by December, and we never ever had to pay that $4,000. We never had to pay it. And so when the Lord told me, because I was remember it was just so much drama with getting the house. And I remember thinking, this is not going to happen. I know the Lord told me it's time to move and it's not going to happen. And the Lord said, it's going to happen because I got to show Galen something. And ever since then,
He's been good.
I'm like, the Lord said it's time to buy a car. He's like, let's ride. The Lord said, we got to do this. Let's roll.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Right. And so, like, when it was time to send MJ out to LA, MJ didn't have no job. He had no acting job in LA. All of a sudden, the Lord was like, go to LA. That brother booked. And we had to pay for MJ living in LA. And we were just starting to like get on. But he didn't say anything. He was just like, yo, send our son to LA. And we sent him to LA and he booked. You know, but he has seen God be big. And so when we moved into this house and the Lord was like, it's time for you to buy a new house. I told my husband, I was like, yo, it's time for us to go. He was like, well, let's roll. Let's do it. You know, and so he trusts the God in me, but I think that's why it is easier for him to trust me, because he knows I'm going to just do what the Lord said do. And that's what he said. Like when he said pay $13,000, he said, you know that we've been told that you can't fly coach and you can't, like, it's not an option to not go. You know what I mean? Because I was like, maybe I just get the coach ticket because it was like $2,000 or something stupid. And he was like, just pay the money.
I love it.
And so, but it's my fault. And he talks to me all the time about being cheap. Because I'm going to buy a $10,000 bag if I want a $10,000 bag. I did not want to pay $10,000 for that ticket. Like, I was just like, I'm not doing that. Like, this ticket's going to go down. Right. And so he always talks to me about that. Like, but you have to not be this cheap. You know what I'm saying? And so he could have very well been like, if you bought the ticket, you should have bought the ticket. He didn't do none of that.
I love that.
We ate out $8,000 more, and that brother was like, we good. And this is why I want to celebrate him.
I love that.
This is why.
But
I do those things. I celebrate him and I do these grand things, but he just need that everyday support.
Just the little small things.
Yeah, because he's so simple.
It's the little small things.
He really needs every day, like, I can do this and my wife got my back. And if it falls to pieces, she's not going to say, I told you so. And I think that's submission. And I don't know. I think if you choose to be married, I'm not talking about in a relationship, but if you choose to be married, you choose submission. I don't know that you get to not choose submission if you choose to be married. I just don't think you do. I don't think you want to hell for not doing it. I am just saying, I don't think you have a way out. I don't think you get to say he wasn't good to me, so I'm not going to submit to him.
Why not?
Because I don't think that
you think just because you're married, there's a covenant and a woman has to submit, period. Just
bingo.
Even if the man is not leading by example, when you're married, a woman should submit.
And you know what? Guess what? You know what's crazy? Like, I have an infatuation with and an obsession with my husband being a spiritual leader. I don't need a spiritual leader. But I have told myself, well, he needs to lead and he needs to do this. I don't even need that. Like, I know God and I'm comfortable with leading this family spiritually because, like, I rock so hard with God. And I can hear him. Now, I don't have a problem. When my husband comes to me and is like, yeah, the Lord said, I'll be like, I believe the God in him. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But like, and he has made decisions for our family because of what he heard from God, right? But like, I don't need no spiritual leader. I don't need a financial leader. I don't need someone to even support me. I literally just need a friend because I am completely good, right? Like and I'm demanding something from him that I don't even need for what? To say, for what? And that's real. And that's me coming to a realization in that moment, moment, like, I don't need him to pray for me because I'm going to get prayed for. I don't need him to hear God for me because I know how to hear God. I don't need him to support me because I make a lot of money. I don't need him to make business decisions for me because I am a business mind. I need a friend. I need him to listen to me in the morning at 2:00 when I wake him up, like, yo, this is what's on my mind.
Which she's there for that.
And he gonna do that.
He's there for that.
He is going to do it.
Yeah.
I need to call and be like, babe, guess what happened in the middle of his work day? He ain't gonna send me no voicemail. He is gonna, what happened, babe?
That is all of the reason to submit, though.
But I don't really
have no, you don't have no problems, really.
I really don't.
You really
my problems
don't have no
are
problems.
me. I am such a problem.
Like you
pray for my husband.
You should submit. You should be the one to be submissive.
But I think that I think that the Lord, if this is the person you chose to marry, if you chose not to wait on God, or if this is the person that you chose to marry, I don't think you get to say, I'm not going to submit.
Okay, we're back to that.
Okay. I don't think you get to make that decision. I think you get to submit, and I think you get to pray through it because, see, God can do anything. And that's what I tell people all the time. Like, if you think I'm wrong, pray for me. Don't be judgmental. Don't do any of that. If you think your husband needs to change, you can, if you trust God, go before the Lord with that. You keep submitting. You keep doing what is called of you, and you put him before the Lord. And God's either going to change him or give you peace about it. You understand that? So he might not get changed, but you will absolutely have peace in submitting.
So what we telling our audience?
Submit to your husbands. Wives, submit to your husbands. And
oh my God.
Don't wait forever to buy a plane ticket with Delta. And
oh my goodness. Oh my
but
God.
No.
Men, make sure that you lead by example out there so these women can submit and want to submit.
You don't get to choose that, though.
I'm sorry.
That's my position.
Men, please lead by example, please.
But I think men should do what they're supposed to do too.
You'll get more out of it.
I never support men. I am not giving men any pass.
I'm saying that to help the females out, the women out in the world.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm not trying to give men a pass.
Submit to somebody that you know you can't, that's not giving you everything that you need.
Then.
Yeah, but it's marriage, it's dating, it's living with somebody that's not, you're not married to. It's still.
But it's seeking God. Everything goes back to the Creator.
Amen.
Right? So it is literally, hey, I'm having a problem here. I don't know how to do it in a way that he understands, but God, you are the creator of all things. You
seek
created
God first.
him.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yes.
So he will give you the words or give someone else the words to be able to change him. But in the meantime, because I firmly believe this, and I know we got to wrap up, but I believe this, all that we ever want, any person ever, is peace in any situation. Ooh. And so if you are struggling to submit, go ahead, and you feel like this person is not a leader, go ahead and put it before the Lord, but also ask for peace. And God's going to give you peace in that. He's going to give you the ability to abide by his word and not make you feel like you are being used or abused or anything like that. He will give you peace. And if you were in a situation where you were being abused, physically, all that abusive, like, leave. We ain't talking about that. But you feel like he's not leading, he's not whatever, and that's not what God has for you, he will also provide means for him to be removed.
Okay.
And I'm talking about marriage. If you dating somebody, you can leave. Anyway, thank y'all for joining us.
Thank you, guys.
This was fun.
This was good.
It was a lot. My husband's going to be so excited about the new woman that I am. Thank you, Lisa.
Oh, God. Thank you, season 3.
We love y'all. See y'all later.
Peace.